So what does it really mean to be free? For India, living under colonial rule, this wasn't some abstract thought experiment, it was the defining question. And right into the middle of this steps one man, Swami Vivekananda, with a totally radical answer. He basically said the true freedom, the kind that can actually build a nation, isn't going to be won on a battlefield. It has to be won inside the mind of every single Indian.
And this quote, this is probably his most famous. Let's really unpack it. This isn't just a motivational phrase for a poster. No way. This was an electrifying, get on your feet call to action. Vivekananda saw a nation that was sleeping, and he believed his words could be the spark to awaken its very soul.
So, who was this voice? Well, Vivekananda wasn't a politician or a freedom fighter in the way we usually think of them. He was a monk. But for him, that didn't mean a life of quiet retreat. It meant being a spiritual teacher with a very public mission. He argued that before you can even think about breaking the chains of an empire, you have to first see and then break the chains you've put on yourself. His revolution was an inside job.
And the way he framed this whole quest for freedom is just fascinating. He saw it as something much bigger than a political goal. For him, it's like the fundamental music of the universe. Every action we take, every goal we chase, that's just our soul trying to express its own natural, infinite freedom. We are all, in his view, dancing to that same music, whether we realize it or not.
Okay, so if the goal is freedom, where do you start? Well, like in any fight, you've got to identify the real enemy. And for Vivekananda, the enemy wasn't some external force. The real battle, he insisted, the one that truly matters, is against our own inner slavery, our weaknesses, our fears, and yeah, our selfish desires.
So the natural question is, what are these chains actually made of? What is it that's really holding us captive? Vivekananda's answer to this takes a concept many of us think we know and kind of flips it on its head.
He's talking about karma, but not karma in the sense of some pre-written destiny you can't escape. Forget that. He saw it as every single experience, every joy, every sorrow, every blow to the soul. And the whole point of these blows, they're like friction. They're meant to strike a fire within you and reveal the power and knowledge that you already have.
This comparison really gets to the heart of it. Look at the two sides here. On the left, slaves work. This is when we're working for ourselves, driven by our own needs. It's selfish, and he believed it always leads to misery. But on the right, you've got work through freedom. This is different. This is unselfish work, born out of love, and that's where you find peace. You see, for him, the motive behind what you do is what either forges the chain or breaks it.
All right, so once we understand what's holding us back, the next step is realizing we hold the key. And this is where Vivekananda's message becomes just so incredibly empowering. He taught that all the strength you will ever need is already inside of you, just waiting to be unlocked.
And this is the turning point. Simple, direct, powerful. Stop looking for reasons outside of yourself for your struggles. The weakness, he argues, is not out there.
Because if you stop blaming others, you're forced to do one thing: stand on your own 2 feet. This is all about radical self-reliance. It's about drawing power from within, not sitting around waiting for someone to grant it to you. And here's the payoff. The logic is so simple. If you created your destiny, you can change it. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are the architect of your own future. Now just imagine hearing this as someone living under colonial rule. This wasn't just philosophy, it was a profound declaration of inner independence.
So now we can see how this all scales up. Vivekananda's blueprint for empowering a single person was the very same blueprint for liberating an entire nation. He didn't want a country of sheep. He envisioned a nation of lions.
He makes such a profound connection here. The divine, he said, isn't some distant being up in the sky. It is the infinite potential that lives inside of you. So to doubt yourself, to think of yourself as weak or insignificant, well, that's to deny that divine spark. It's basically losing faith in the whole cosmic setup.
And this is what happens when you have that faith. His message was simple. If you see yourself as a spark of an infinite divine fire, then the very idea of being nothing becomes impossible. You are everything. You are ready for anything. A nation of individuals who truly believe this about themselves, he argued, could never be held down.
So what's the one thing standing in the way of all this? Fear. For Vivekananda, fear was the ultimate enemy. He called it the greatest of all superstitions because it's a false belief.
It's the lie that tells us we are small, weak, and separate. Conquer that one superstition, he said, and you can conquer anything.
So where did all this lead? Let's bring this all together and focus on Vivekananda's enduring vision for India, a vision rooted in this very philosophy of inner strength and total fearlessness.
Despite all the problems of his time, his optimism was just boundless, and he placed his faith squarely on the shoulders of the next generation. He saw the youth not just as the future, but as the engine that would raise India to its rightful spiritual place in the world. Which leaves us with the final and most important question. What is the path? After all this philosophy, what is the one thing we actually need to do to achieve this freedom, both inside and out?
And here we are, full circle. The answer is fearlessness. It's the key that unlocks heaven, that unlocks your potential, that unlocks a nation's destiny. And so his final command is the same as his first. That timeless, powerful call to awaken the giant within you and to never ever stop until that goal of true freedom is finally reached.